I was reminded about somebody knocking on your door. Today it's scary. It's like, who's at our door? No one texted us. I was like, oh crap, hide. It almost feels like it's like not good. And I think invitations are really good. So I had a full little house this morning. We were drinking coffee. My friend, neighbor Rick comes over. We got James. We got my son Jordan gets up. An old friend from back in the day shows up with his kid. And we got a full house. And it was chaotic, but it was great. We're all having coffee together and talking and just kind of catching up on stuff. And that's what we get invited to into this. It's coming to community and sharing, our love of God, and inviting people into that narrative. And I was reminded that there was a story about a guy. He was like 30 years as a cripple plus, and he couldn't walk. He was disfigured. He lived in a horrible environment where they washed sheep for priests to do church stuff back in the day. And once in a while, some angel would come and stir the water, and whoever got in first would be healed. So there was sheep stuff, there was religious stuff, and there was a whole whack of cripples trying to get into the water first. And this guy hadn't ever got in. And he met a man, and the man was Jesus. And Jesus invited him into a new life and gave him an offer. Do you want to get well? And I've given that offer has been given to me 100 times, if not 1,000 times. And one day, because I couldn't die and I kept waking up, I said, I want to get well. And I have no clue how to do that. And I was at a homeless shelter and I got well. I was invited into the narrative, but getting well, you have to leave everything. You have to leave everything that you know in the comfort, because you have a narrative of not being well. You have people that give you stuff. You have, people that give you food. You're dependent on them, and they see you and have mercy, and you're just down there. Imagine being down there and having to walk, and the responsibility and the stress and the pressure. Would I get married? Would I be like everybody else? Like, that's overwhelming. I've been down here for 40 years, and now I'm being invited into a whole new narrative. Like, how do I even talk to girls? Like, what? Whoa. Like, just even thinking that it's making me anxious right now. I'm like, that dude, like, he got invited into a new narrative, but he had to leave that one. And that's a choice. That's I believe was my only choice. And I got to do that, and that's what an invitation is. And over the years, I've given, I don't know, hundreds, maybe thousands of people that choice. Do you want to pick up your mat and walk? Do you want to get well? And I was remembering of a guy that he wanted to get well, and he came into my care, and he was an Italian guy, robust. Everybody loved him. And it didn't work out so well at the treatment center that he was at. And he left, but I stayed in contact with him, and his life got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And one night, him and some roommates were broken into, robbed by drug dealers, and their lives were threatened, and everything was taken. And he called me the next day. He just called me crying. I was like, yeah, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse than that. Do you want to get well? I do. And he goes, tell me what to do. And I'm like, dude, I've told you what to do 100 times, and here's all you have to do. Like, I ran out of stuff to like get him to invite him. And I said, tonight on your hands and knees, ask God for help. That's all I had. Like, by now it's been a 2-year relationship, and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Do you want to get well? I said, that's my last trick. So the next night I was at a meeting. He was downtown in this rooming house kind of thing. And I didn't answer my phone. I saw that he phoned, and he left a message, and I got the message, and he said, hey, Jon, I got out. I was on my hands and knees, and I asked God to take me out of here. And he goes, I got a job working in Kempville, staying at a family's house to help renovate their house. I got out of here. I can't believe it. Like, it actually worked. Circumstances, it's nuts. There's a whole story to it. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And the next day on our way to work, I drove with my wife. She dropped me off at my friends that love drugs and alcohol and want to get well. And then she would go to Parliament Hill. two ends of the spectrum. Both need Jesus. Probably Parliament Hill needs it more. And so I get a phone call, and it's Mike's mom screaming and crying. And I knew instantly what had happened because she couldn't talk. And then Dad grabbed the phone and said, "Hey, John, Mike just lost his life last night." I was like, "Oh, I got to go." These guys loved him. And I got to go and tell them that Mike lost his life. But he picked up his mat and left. And I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know if he is well. And God said, "Okay, you're coming home because you said yes. You want to get help, and I'm going to take you home." And that's one of many that have passed away. I had 17 guys that I work with personally over COVID lost their lives through the overdose and suicide. Do you want to get well? And that's the narrative that you get to be invited into, and no one can force you. And sometimes we try to get well for her or him or the kids, and it never lasts because I did all that. I saw my son the first time in jail. He wasn't in jail. I was in jail. Yeah. They were visiting me. I don't know if that was clear. I wasn't the visitor. I was in there. And, yeah. And I really wanted to get well because I had so much, but none of them got me well. I had to get well from the invitation that Jesus gave me. And so I want to invite you into that narrative. Do you want to get well? And I don't look at recovery that, oh, you need recovery because you're sticking a needle in your arm, or you're drinking drinks every day, you're hiding it, you're still going to work, or you live downtown. Like, everybody needs recovery because we start outside of the Garden of Eden, the temple. We are the temple, and we start into this world of fear, and we're born into it. And we need a savior, and God's perfect love will cast out fear because we're driven by the slave master. We're born into this. And we need a savior to become the temple of God where his power comes within us. And that's what I've experienced. His power was way more powerful than the drugs I was using, and you should have seen the drugs I was using. That had great power. And for 19 years, I've been powered by the Spirit of God, not the spirit of alcohol. And it's a great power. And I remember almost every night. I forget them the next night, but at least I know where I'm going to sleep tonight. And it's a great life. Do you want to get well? And so we have a process called LifeLab Express. LifeLab Diagnostic gets you into a conversation. This is an invitation. Little conversation to see if you really want to get well. And then we have LifeLab Express, and it's 6 sessions to bring you from fear driven to love guided and have this relationship with God. And like I said, Parliament Hill needs it way more than the people on the street, or just as much. They just hide it better, which is actually harder to get help.